Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Good morning. Welcome back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. I am Phil Brilliant, substituting for Jeremy today as well as the entire week. It is Monday, November 7th. It is 6:09. It is time to get up, get out, and do something. And speaking about getting up, getting out, and do something, we are joined this morning by the man behind the scenes at Carl's Fencing, Decking, and Home Improvement, Carl DelPizzo Jr. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Phil. Thank you so much for having me on today.
I'm glad to have you on. I mean, Carl and I, so truth be told, Carl and I know each other from Ocean County Business Association. I'd say that we have become friendly over the years, and Carl has done a lot of projects at my house. We'll talk about them as the morning goes on. So I usually choose people that I know, or at least that are known in the community, because it's always a good lead and we get a good audience. You know, especially on the week where all the kids are off from school, right. So the parents are sleeping in, and the kids and parents. They're in Disney. I mean, come on, they're all in Disney right now, sleeping in because they're out.
Listening.
Yeah, so we need some good people, local community guys and girls, to make sure that people are listening to us. I'm glad Carl could join us this morning.
Awesome, I'm happy to be here.
And always love to know. I'm quite certain you're 10 years old. You're digging around in the sandbox, and you're like, I'm gonna work at Carl's Fencing when I grew up.
Well, the history is quite interesting, actually. My father's a local Toms River business owner prior to Carl's Fencing, and he used to own the Playdrome on Route 37. Was in the bowling business, and in the mid-'90s, the industry started to go south a little bit, and my father decided he was going to start putting up fences. So him and two young gentlemen at the time literally went through, I guess his midlife crisis, so to speak, and he started digging holes and putting up fences and saw a lot of opportunity in the industry, whether it be the competition or whether it be the building, all the growth that was happening at the time in the mid to late 90s. And then in 2000, we opened our store, and that's when he recruited me to come aboard full-time. And I had worked there every summer after school. I started on the crew as a helper, went to a delivery driver, and then I had my own crew. So, I did grow up in that business as well as the bowling business. But it was, I couldn't be more blessed and grateful to have just an amazing set of parents, hardworking, God-fearing, just really, really, great people to be raised by. So I give them all the credit for where I am today, for sure.
And that's phenomenal. And again, I know you, and you do incredible work both at the office as well as throughout the community. But I got to ask the question, putting in fence posts versus cleaning bowling shoes. Where's the preference?
Fence posts, without a doubt. I think that one of the worst jobs I've ever had in my life was cleaning the bathroom at the bowling alley. So without a doubt. No, there's a lot. We're in the service business. We get to really help people. We'll talk about Sandy a little bit. You mentioned that was a great opportunity to help people restore their lives and their houses and their homes. But yeah, it's a very a lot of gratification, because when you build something, you can see it at the end of the day and can really feel the warmth of the happiness of the customer and the satisfaction. So it's, that's the business we're in, I think, is building relationships, satisfying people, helping them so they can spread the word and help us to grow our business.
Right. And again, best way to grow a business is word of mouth.
Absolutely.
And I believe a lot of your customers are really either repeat customers or they're getting referrals from friends who've already used you. And I think that is a testament to the work that you guys do.
Yeah, year in and year out, I'd say at least 50 to 55% of the people that work with us are either repeat customers or referrals that came from our satisfied clientele. So it's a great opportunity to be part of something special. We have about 170 employees currently. We cover the entire state of New Jersey with fences. Our other services reach out to 2 or 3 counties, and we're still growing and excited to be in an industry that is growing right now. So it's a special thing. Yeah,
you talk about industry that's growing. Now again, so 2000, you open up your first office or showroom?
Correct. Our showroom/office right on Route 9, 1579 Route 9, same location we're in today.
Yep.
And we grew. We had 2 locations, one in Marlboro, one in LBI, which were just sales satellite offices. But once the recession hit, we kind of had to digress a bit and downsize, cut the company back to make it through the recession. We did some reorganizing. We kind of hit the ground running in 2010, and we've grown tremendously ever since, and Sandy was a huge shot in the arm for us in terms of growth, so.
Yeah, so I mean, you go through the 2000s, and really, it's building the business slowly. October 28th, 2012 hits. Okay, and I know one of my first calls, after the storm, when I walked outside and my fence was in my neighbor's yard and my neighbor's fence was in my yard, was to Carl, and Carl's like, "Hey, love you, man. People's homes are floating down the streets. We're going to get to them first."
Yeah, just bear with us. It was unprecedented times. I mean, anyone who lived in this area or, came to help saw the severe damage, and I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. And so the first couple days, I think we were all in shock a little bit. And first thing my father did, to his credit, was get the phone plugged in and got it on a generator so that he could, take those calls and help people that were in need of help. And we sat and talked the day after Sandy, actually, as a family, strategized a little bit about, how we could go about helping people and doing this the right way. So we decided, obviously, we did not raise any of our prices. We didn't want to gouge anybody, and we were just open to trying to help as many people as we possibly could. So whether that was helping them gut their house and get it down to the studs, which was not a business we were in, we had all hands on deck. We had a lot of resources. We have a lot of guys that are very hardworking, diligent employees. So there was just a lot of opportunity to help people, which I think, that was the best part about the entire experience. Not the business, not the dollars or the revenue, but really being able to help people that are in a really tough spot because of that storm. So it made us grow tremendously, 35, 40, 50% each year since. And hard to say it's been controlled growth, but we've managed to get through. And now we've built a company that can handle this kind of volume. And it's just been a great learning experience, because I don't think anybody was ready for that in terms of the amount of volume of things that needed to be repaired and fixed.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was ready. And I think, as time has gone on, I think we've seen, how contractors have handled it. I think you guys have done a tremendous job handling it. But you also see the difference. Now, important part to point out is, as a contractor in the state of New Jersey, you have to be a New Jersey home improvement contractor through the Department of Community Affairs.
Correct.
And we're seeing now, the outcome of people who were not those approved contractors, and the litigation, the fines, the penalties. When we come back from break, because again, we got to pay the bills, and we do have commercial breaks here. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about that and how you became Carl's Fencing, Decking, and Home Improvements, okay, and also where you see yourself going with the business as we move forward. Awesome. We'll be back in a moment.
The Sean Hannity Show, this afternoon at 3. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin returns next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Good morning. Welcome back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. I am Phil Brilliant, and we are continuing our conversation with Carl DelPizzo Jr. of Carl's Fencing, Decking, and Home Improvements. And we have a caller. We have Dave from Manasquan. Good morning, Dave.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing this morning?
Good, thanks.
So do you know Carl?
Yeah, it's funny. When you were talking about Hurricane Sandy, it brought back some painful memories. But like you and Carl were talking about, there's also, I guess, a silver lining, because our house got really destroyed. We had 6 inches of floating water going through the house, and we're elevated almost 5 feet. And the guys came in and they took the house down to the studs, like Carl was saying. And I had no idea, because I always thought them it's just a fencing company, because they've done fences for us for years. But the guys have a construction business, and they, from the drywall to the hardwood flooring to the painting to the electricians, everything. So now, okay, it was a long road. Granted, it was a long road, but maybe 15, 18 months later, the house is like a showplace. So, the guys, they do fantastic work, and you feel like you're part of the family. Carl's Uncle Dave came out, and his other relative Dennis was a construction guy, and you really feel like you're part of the family. It's not just a business; it's a real connection to the whole company, and it's really just such a great business. Can't speak more highly.
Thanks, David. It's funny you call, because I was telling Phil a little bit about the story behind your deck that we did prior to Sandy. So I don't know if you could shed some light on that for us, because to me that's such an amazing story. The Hurricane Irene had done some damage to your original deck. So maybe you could enlighten us, or just enlighten some of the listeners on that situation, that the work we did and what made it through the original hurricane.
Sure. Yeah, as you hopefully you remember the Halloween snowstorm from 2011. All the kids couldn't go trick or treating because it was so bad. My deck popped up. I'm very fortunate. I live on a lagoon in Manasquan, And the guys came up from Carl's, and they said, we're going to make sure this never happens again. And they built the deck with I'm going from my wife, I remember for sure, but we'll tell you guys, about 25 pilings drilled 12 feet deep into the ground, and then 6 pilings in the lagoon going 16 feet into the soil, and then all these big construction beams going across, each way. Anyway, so I'm telling my neighbor, and I hope he's not listening to that because he'll get mad at me. Tony, I'm sorry. But Tony was teasing me. He said, Dave, I want you to put a sign up here, a plaque, because you spent too much money. You overdid it with this deck. You don't need such a fancy deck. Put a plaque up. One day, June of 2012, one day, hurricane's going to come and wipe all these houses out. So that was June. When, sadly, Hurricane Sandy came up about 6 months later, and this deck, it's the craziest thing. This deck, you would never know there was 6 feet of ocean water floating across it. I mean, it really went nowhere. It's solid as a rock. But the house got wrecked. So this deck will go through everything. Hurricane Sandy, nothing happened to it. But it was really quite a quality job and a funny story. And sadly, my neighbor, his house got beat up pretty bad by Sandy as well. So,
well, it's funny, David. It's funny that you say that because there's something that I distinctly remember from in that dealing with you right before we signed that big deck job, and you had said, hey, can you give me a guarantee that this deck will never go anywhere or never move? And I said, Mother Nature is a pretty powerful thing. I can't guarantee it, but I can promise you we're going to do everything in our power to overbuild it, make sure it's strong. And I'm so happy and proud to hear that it made it through Hurricane Sandy. And, it's such a neat story.
Yeah, and being the good businessman that he is, he said, you never can tell. If we get a big crazy storm, you never know what will happen. But, man, between your family construction business that people probably don't know about as much, but with your Uncle Dave and your relative Dennis, they do such great construction work as well. So it's not just a fencing company, right? It's decks and home improvements and all those other things. So you guys are awesome.
Well, awesome. Dave, that's a great testament. Thank you very much. And I think that's really good. I mean, you could build a deck that withstands Hurricane Sandy. You got to believe you're going to build a house that's going to withstand Hurricane Sandy.
Absolutely.
So, Dave, thank you very much for your call.
Thank you, David.
Have a great day, guys.
You too.
So, again, Carl's Fencing becomes Carl's Fencing, decking, home improvements. When does that happen? We got about a minute before the next break, so tell us a quick story.
It's interesting. In 2010, we see, my uncle, who's my father's brother, had been in the home improvement business 30-plus years, roofing, siding, windows, doors, custom work. And he kind of hit a plateau with his old employer, was looking to go into his own business. And at a family dinner on Sunday, we were all talking a little bit, and my father and my uncle came to the conclusion that he should come and join forces with us, and we'll start a home improvement division. So it's since then it's been great. The fact that we had that established prior to Sandy really, again, helped, just that grow tremendously.
Just helped you rebuild the community even more and take that knowledge and that experience on the fencing and decking end into home improvements.
Exactly.
So that when the next storm comes in, all of those houses stay in the right place.
That's right. You got it.
When we come back after the news break, we're going to talk a little bit more about Carl's fencing, decking, and home improvements. And also, we're going to give Carl Jeremy Grunin magic wand. I'm going to surprise him with it. We'll talk about that. We'll be back after the news.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center overlooking the Toms River, it's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show, 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Good morning. Welcome back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. It is 6:35 on Monday, November 7th. Give or take 3 to 4 minutes on your Radio Pup app. And we are continuing our conversation with Carl DelPizzo Jr. of Carl's Fencing, Decking, and Home Improvements. We had a great call from Dave, and we talked a little bit about, but give us the quick 30-second finalization of, becoming that home improvement contractor and what you may do with maybe some charities or some other associations.
Yes, I mentioned my uncle Dave DelPizzo. He joined with us in 2010. Great opportunity. My father and my uncle's first cousin also joined, Dennis Bosco. He's a awesome custom carpenter, and we have a lot of talented guys who have come. A lot of them are kind of hit their wits' end in their own business and join forces with us. So it's really helped us to have a great team of people behind us, which is without good people, in your business, there's no shot.
You are your people.
Exactly.
That's really what it is. I mean, your name could be on the sign out front, but unless there's people working underneath that sign, you're not worth anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with that being said, to name two people that are near and dear to my heart is my mother, Donna DelPizzo, and my aunt Cindy Kuman. They are kind of the face and the mothers behind the entire company, and they do a lot to give back. And we were on Saturday morning. We were at the dedication of a new home for Northern Ocean Habitat for Humanity. That's been the most recent thing that we've done. We do a lot with the Special Olympics. And mostly we try to keep our giving back local. The Toms River Police Department, the different firehouses in town, the schools. Donovan Catholic is my alma mater, where I currently coach and help out and volunteer.
What are you coaching?
I coach the varsity basketball team. I'm the first assistant, which is awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's
okay.
That's my way of giving back to my old school and to the children and to just and my love of the game of basketball. So it kind of goes all hand in hand. We've done things every year for Eagle Scouts, young men that are in the Boy Scouts going for their Eagle Scout, try to help out them. We did something recently with Eastover Elementary. We helped them. We donated some materials for the kids to build a little bit of a fence on their entryway to their school. So we try to do what we can, locally as much as possible. We're also usually at drop-off for Toys for Tots. And then the Caring for Children that the OCBA does, which is an awesome organization as well. So it's important, I think, to give back and especially locally and be part of the community because that's where you can make the greatest impact, I think, short term.
And the community makes or breaks you. I mean, really, right. You are in the community, you're entrenched, you're building. Literally
exactly.
Building the community, back, from Hurricane Sandy, but also giving back. And what a great lead-in, what a great opportunity. I did give the little teaser that I am going to give you the Jeremy Grunin magic wand. He's left me 5 for the week. We have to find a few more in the storage room for some of our double guests. But this is where you get to make a difference in people's lives, in your sector, in the world. And so, Carl, what would you do with that magic wand?
That's a very difficult question. So I guess the magic wand, if I had a magic wand and I could make a difference in the world, I think I would look at it that way on a higher level. We're so blessed and fortunate to live in this country. So I think that we take advantage of that sometimes and we just don't think about the blessings that we are offered. So if there was a way that we could make life more affordable for everyone all over the world, whether it be lower energy costs, lower building costs, higher wages for people, whatever the case may be. But if we're often just trapped in this world of chasing the almighty dollar and claiming that to be success. And,
right.
And if there was a way to, that people could spend more time giving to one another, helping one another, putting all of our energy and efforts into, lowering the cost of energy or different sources of energy and kind of breaking free from some of the current, establishment corporation type style things that we're currently part of, I think that would be where I'd focus my energy with the
That's
wands.
great. I mean, between the people who are starving in this world, specifically starving in America and in our communities, as well as people who live on the streets. I mean, there's so much that we need to do to really improve the quality of lives of everybody.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great way. So I can't, so this can be a terrible segue, but I can't let you go. I did give a lot of teasing out that, you're going to help Donald Trump build this wall come Wednesday morning. And so we got the little model here that you brought in. And, so how big you think this wall is going to need to be? How much material do we need?
Well, with a wall of that magnitude, I don't think I have anything to do with the specs and designing it, but I would certainly be open to helping build any project. I think that, just protecting our nation and our sovereignty is very important. I think the foundation that our forefathers laid for us, the Constitution, is a very, very special thing. And, it's near and dear to my heart. I think that it's something that we need to take seriously and really make sure that we don't lose our foundation.
And it's unfortunate because I really think as people enter the polls tomorrow, less than 24 hours away now, or the people who have already voted, I think we kind of lost that vision this year because of, again, we always have negative campaigning,
right.
But because of how negative it's been. how, basically we have, one candidate as in Donald Trump, who's the outsider, and, people see him more in The Apprentice than they do see him in the Oval Office.
Absolutely.
And then you have, Hillary, who, has been known as Crooked Hillary, and, between the WikiLeaks and everything else that's going on, I think people have lost focus on why they're walking into that booth. So I think what you just said was great. It's really the foundation of a great country.
Yeah, I think without a doubt they say when you're living in historical times, you don't really realize it or notice it. And I think this is a pivotal, monumental moment for our nation. I think that there's been, just years of kind of neglect on our part, so to speak.
Yeah,
and now people are frustrated. And I think, Donald Trump may or may not be the right person to fill that role, but I do support his efforts in trying to make a real change. So I think that's what we need. And it starts with us. So tomorrow will be a good starting point for whoever believes in a different change.
And one of the reasons we live in the greatest country in the world is because we get that opportunity to put our voice out there. Nobody's going to be holding a gun to our head tomorrow. Basically, we all get to make our own choice.
Absolutely.
So, Carl, I appreciate you coming in this morning. Real quick as we go out, how do people get a hold of you?
You can call our office, 732-505-1749, or go on our website, www.bycarls.com. And I just want to give a great thank you to all the servicemen and women of the country, the police, the firefighters, full support to them. Those people are they have thankless jobs, and I think they deserve every bit of gratitude.
Carl, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Back in a moment.